Well, Sabbath greetings, everyone. I hope that you're staying warm and dry and safe out there in this winter wonderland. It certainly was an interesting night. You know, sometimes we question whether or not the forecasters are going to get it right, and this is one circumstance, one occasion here where I think they were pretty spot on. Uh, they uh, they were calling for pretty substantial snow around the area, and I think we got on the high end of the scale for what they were forecasting here in Jacksonville. We got quite a bit of snow, and so certainly we're trying to stay out of it if at all possible. Hopefully you are too. It's pretty dangerous out there, just not worth the risk. Unless there's an emergency, we try to stay in, hunker down, weather the storm, make it through until things calm down a little bit and the sun comes back out, which I understand next week, a little later on in the week, it should be back up in the 50s, at least the low 50s, and a lot of this white stuff I'm sure, will be gone by then. So, but again, I hope you're being safe. I hope you're staying warm, all that kind of thing, and I'm thinking of you and praying for you. And if you need anything, please let me know. Please do not ever hesitate to contact me. Let me know if you have a need or if there's anything we can do for you at all. Just let me know. It's been an interesting week here. We had reason to be over in Conway on, let's see, this is Friday, so it was yesterday. Yesterday we headed to Conway to help my middle daughter Jamie. She called us in the 5 o'clock hour there in the morning, and was very upset and called us to try and help her and kind of formulate a plan after her tires were slashed. She had all four of her tires slashed on her car while it was sitting right out in front of her apartment. So, of course, that can be very, very unsettling, very frustrating, and certainly can be very expensive. This is not the first time it's happened. Sadly, just a few weeks ago, her roommate also had all four of her tires slashed, and so you start to wonder what's going on there. And so it's no laughing matter at all. I'm very, very concerned, as it certainly appears to be not just a random incident, but more of a targeted incident there. So please keep them in your prayers. My Jamie and her roommate Lana, they're just as sweet as can be, and Jamie, really doesn't have an enemy in the world that I'm aware of. Of course, I don't want to say any more there, but we have given some thought to one particular individual, and it seems like any evidence that we may have points in that direction. And so it could be, again, something that's targeted, and of course that's very disconcerting, and so we certainly have the police involved, and reports have been filed and all that sort of thing. So it's a dangerous world that we live in, and I know it's a little short notice, but we do have an announcement in the World Ahead update that we will have a church-wide fast next Sabbath, and I mentioned that in my announcements that I sent out not too long ago, but I'll mention it here again, that for those that are able, we are asking everyone to fast next Sabbath. If the time doesn't work out, then try to do it as close to next Sabbath as possible. Because of our travels and things that we have going on, because of circumstances that came up, we'll be fasting a little bit earlier than the Sabbath. But either way, it's good to fast together, and it's a very, very powerful tool that we have. And so Mr. Weston thought it was advantageous and something that we could all, certainly the church at large, could benefit from, all of us fasting together. And there's a lot going on in the world. I've had some personal things that are going on within my family that point to just where the world is at. We're in trouble in many, many ways, and I think the writing's on the wall, and we know that this world is not going to last. It's not going to last. And I think sometimes that can be very discouraging to our young people. They want to live. They want to get married. They want to live life and do everything that people do. And that's understandable. It is. It's understandable. But of course, as we mature and as we have things in life that experiences and things of that nature, I think for most of us, we just long for the kingdom. We're really, I guess, in one sense, we are ready for the kingdom. We're not ready, in every way, or it would certainly be here. There are things that have to happen prophetically. There are things that the church, I'm sure, is still in the process of fulfilling in terms of what God's will is for preaching to modern Israel. And there's something to be said there. We're making progress. We're doing our part. But it would appear, that there are things happening that are very, very serious in nature. And so it just reminds me of 2 Timothy chapter 3. And I want to read it because, some of us, we see these things, and I know that it resonates. We understand it. But just understanding the implications, the personal implications of this, we can't escape all these things. They're going to touch us at times. And if not us, then maybe our beautiful family that may not be in the protective care of the church at this time. Of course, I believe my children they were blessed as babies, and I know that God very much loves them, cares about them, and is protecting them. But certainly there are things that happen out there in the world, and we need one another, and we need that protective care of the church at large, and God's special hand of protection. And of course, when our kids go out there, things happen. It's just the nature of it. And so, you read these things and it does impact us. If it doesn't impact us personally, then we can look around and there's family members, extended family, where we can understand these things very, very intently. We understand where we're at in that regard, that prophecy is being fulfilled here. 2 Timothy 3 and verse 1, but know this, that in the last days, perilous times will come, dangerous times. And that's where we're living. We've got this absolutely horrendous fire situation in California, multiple fires, many fires, and they just can't seem to get it under control. And it's burning. California is burning. Parts of it will never, ever be the same again. They're estimating already some $50 billion in damages, not to mention the loss of life. And some people have lost everything. And because of that area and the risks that the state, because of the lack of infrastructure and things that were the failures on the part of the leadership there, they had no way of fighting these fires. They were trying to fight these fires with their both hands tied behind their backs. They don't have any water. They don't have enough water. They didn't plan ahead. And brethren, there's a lesson in there, spiritual lesson. We simply must try and prepare for the spiritual onslaught that Satan is going to be perpetrating, the things he's going to be doing, because he's not letting up. And we need to understand when these things are happening in the world, he's coming after the church. And, as goes the world, so goes the church. We see these trends happening. We see these awful things. Satan is very active. And so we do need to be prepared and preparing. And he goes on to say, men will be lovers of themselves. So much of that. So much arrogance. Lovers of money. So many people are making decisions based on greed. Money hungry. Boasters. Yes, we have boasters all around us, and the proud. Blasphemers. So much of that going on. They blaspheme the great God and Jesus Christ, the one who died for them. Disobedient to parents. Terrible thing going on out there for sure. They're unthankful. They don't appreciate the great blessings we've been given. They're unholy. Yes, unholy. That means they've given themselves over, at least to some degree, to Satan the devil. They're not really trying to obey God. Unloving. Unforgiving. That's such a huge one. Unforgiving. Slanderers. There's so many people that want revenge, and some of these things we see happening are about revenge and trying to exact revenge on supposed enemies and that sort of thing. They're without self-control. They slander. They're without self-control. That's a big one. Brutal. despisers of good. They're traitors. They're headstrong, haughty. Yes, haughty, arrogant, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power. And from such people, turn away. That's so true. And sometimes we look at that and we think, well, what is that, having a form of godliness but denying its power? Yeah, that goes to much of the problem that leads to all of these issues, is that they give lip service to God. You know, a lot of them tend to be sort of religious-y. You know, well, I'm not a religious person, but I have a spiritual element to me, you know. But they deny the power of God. They deny God as creator, as sustainer, as the one who gives life and breath, and everything we have comes from him. We're borrowing life from the great God, and he gives us every breath we have. And this world has forgotten him. And that's the problem. They forget and they deny his power. Turn over to Hosea, and we'll put some of what we see happening out there in California into perspective. And we need, I don't think anybody that pays attention and sees what's going on out there is not motivated to pray. Everyone is praying about this situation, because it's horrendous. And you see these people, they interview these people that have absolutely lost everything, and they don't have any insurance. They've lost everything, all their memories and their clothing. They got out maybe with the clothes on their back, and that's about it, because it just happens so fast and it spreads so fast, and it's just a horrific, and many in the news are calling it apocalyptic. That's how bad it is. It's a horrifying situation. In Hosea 8, and let's just look at verse 14. Look at Hosea 8 and verse 14. For Israel has forgotten his maker. Now, does that not describe what we just talked about, the purpose, the reason, the end result of 2 Timothy chapter 3? Those are the end results of a world of nations that forget their maker. They have a form of godliness, but they deny the power of God. They deny their creator in that sense. And so we have all those horrific things we're navigating here at the end of the age. For Israel has forgotten his maker. Modern Israel has forgotten his maker and has built temples or palaces, which it says in the center reference here, or palaces. Judah also has multiplied fortified cities. But listen to what God says here, brethren. But I will send fire upon his cities, and it shall devour his palaces. Now, I'm not saying that this is a direct fulfillment of prophecy, brethren. But understand that a lot of the homes that are being burned out there, Hollywood and that area has been synonymous with filth for a long, long time. It's a filthy place. I thought it was very ironic. It was very, it was just sobering, really, to see these fires that are just all around this billboard. And what's on the billboard? RuPaul's Drag Race, a billboard for RuPaul and that whole filthy part of our society with the transgenders, the cross-dressers we used to call them, but the transgenders and the sick, filthy homosexual lifestyle and the filthiness, the sexual deviance of the world. And Israel is the worst. Modern Israel, the English-speaking world, the United States of America, Britain, the United Kingdom, all of that part of the country that's English-speaking is just filth. And God says, I will burn down their palaces. We call these mansions, or sometimes McMansions, but some of these are just downright mansions. We're talking multi-million-dollar homes that are burning to the ground. And it's horrific. But brethren, this world is they've forgotten their maker. And so these things are going to get worse. They're not going to get any better. So we need to hunker down. We need to be fasting regularly. Seek our great God, our maker, and not dare forget our creator. And see him in everything, because we know the end is near. I love you all very, very much. I hope you have a fantastic Sabbath. Hunker down and have a great Sabbath at home this Sabbath. Love you all.